Hi everyone, it's Wendy with Impatient Clothing. For today's video, I'd like to show what's in my bag, or my 10 crochet essentials. Like with any craft, making sure you have the right tools for starting out makes a huge difference in the success of your craft. In this video, I will explain what tools I always like to have on hand when working on a crochet project. I will have all items mentioned in this video linked down below if you would like to purchase them for yourself. First thing I like to keep near me is a notebook. I keep this beside me when crocheting to keep tally of what row I'm on or what stitch if I have to walk away from a project. I also like having the notebook beside me in case I think of a note for the pattern I'm currently working on. Another great option for keeping up with what row you're on is a row counter. It's a very simple device that's attached to an adjustable ring so that you can keep it on your finger while crocheting. It has one large button that counts the rows and one tiny button that resets the rows. Next in my bag to go with the notebook is of course pens and pencils. I usually keep about 2 of each in case I misplace one while working. The third item I have in my bag at all times are my yarn needles in their container. Like the pens, I always like to keep a few around in case I misplace one. I also have quite a few different size and shape needles depending on what the project calls for. My personal favorite for everyday use is this orange one by Clover. It's the perfect size for the worsted weight yarn I use on a daily basis and has the perfect slightly bent tip. The next item on our list are these stitch markers. These are both by the brand Clover as well. One is their basic locking stitch marker, and the larger one is their quick locking stitch marker. A great cost-effective alternative to either of these options is a simple bobby pin or safety pin. Either works just as well. This next item is quite optional depending on what project you're making, but this is a tape measure. A lot of patterns require a test swatch because everyone's tension is different. Keeping a tape measure is helpful when measuring these test swatches. It also comes in handy when crocheting wearables. You want to make sure that your item will fit you when you're done with it, so having this on hand is an easy way to take measurements of yourself when choosing what size pattern to start with. Next in my bag is a small pair of scissors. Any scissors will do when clipping yarn ends, but I personally prefer these because they are smaller and fit better in my bag, and they are also very sharp. To go along with the last item, we have this small container that I keep my yarn scraps in. I keep all of my tiny yarn ends because I like to use them for stuffing when making amigurumi or stuffed animals instead of buying brand new polyfill. You'll notice when you start crocheting that these little ends add up, and soon you'll have plenty to fill an amigurumi with. If you don't have a small container like this one, a plastic bag always works just as well. Next in our bag is one of the most important tools in crocheting, and that's our hooks. There are many different brands and style of crochet hooks, but let's just talk about 2 for today. The 2 most common and affordable brands of crochet hooks are Boye and Susan Bates. Boye hooks have what's called a tapered throat. The hook itself is much smoother and has the shape of a cone. Susan Bates have an inline throat. The inline throat has a flatter shape, and the hook itself has much more of a point. It's completely a personal preference as to which style you like better. I personally love the Susan Bates ergonomic hooks as my favorite. For storing your hooks in your bag, you have many different options. I have this little divider that I made for my different hook sizes. A great cost-effective option is a toothbrush holder. It's very affordable and holds a ton of hooks. Our next crochet essential is another extremely important tool of crocheting, our yarn. There are so many different options when it comes to yarn, but there are a few things we need to talk about when choosing our yarn as beginners. One of the most popular brands of yarn for beginners is this Red Heart Super Saver. This yarn is great because it's very versatile, it's extremely affordable, and it's a worsted weight yarn which is ideal for beginners. When choosing a yarn for your first project, you want to choose one that's a very bright color so you can see the stitches easily so you don't skip a stitch. You also want to choose a very basic yarn for your first project because yarns like chenille or velvet are very hard to see stitches made with, so you could very easily get frustrated when starting out. When looking at our yarn, there are a few things we should note. First is the amount that the skein comes with. This skein comes with 198 grams or 364 yards. Be sure to check your pattern to see how much yarn you will need before you start a project. Next we have the size or weight of the yarn, which is a 4 or a worsted weight yarn. Then we have what size hook is recommended, as well as a gauge key. Your pattern may recommend a different size hook and gauge, so be sure to check that before starting your project. The label also tells us the material and how to wash it once your project is finished. Since this is 100% acrylic yarn, you can wash and dry it very easily. Our 10th crochet essential is a pattern. I prefer to use digital patterns on my phone or iPad because I always have those with me. I can easily make notes on the pattern, and it also helps me save paper. A bonus item that I use on a daily basis is the bag itself. I made this bag using a pattern by For the Frills. I'll have it linked below. I personally love this pattern, and I've made one in every size. This is the small size, and it's perfect for holding all of my essentials. The medium and large sizes are also perfect for holding the yarn you're currently using and works in progress. If you don't like this specific bag, there are many different patterns for crochet bags, or you can buy one from a local craft store or online. And this is everything inside my crochet bag. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more crafting content. Thanks for watching and happy crocheting!